So, did anyone else want these two to cannily meet? Just me? Okay. Hey everybody, it's Pinkity10 here in the house. So, I recently started getting back into one of my favorite childhood shows, Power Rangers. I grew up watching Power Rangers Samurai right before school and on the weekend when my dad wasn't hogging the TV. I was really upset when I found out it ended. When Power Rangers Megaforce came out, I refused to watch it because by my 9-year-old logic, it replaced Samurai. I eventually watched one episode mostly because there was nothing else on, and I honestly enjoyed it. I mostly enjoyed it because of one character, Robo Knight. Aw, come on, you cannot watch Megaforce without honestly loving Robo Knight. But then I found out Megaforce ended when Dino Charge started. Now, I honestly didn't get to watch much of Dino Charge when it was airing as I would want to, and only really saw 4 episodes. But I recently managed to find clips in good quality online. This was before I found out it was on Netflix. So, I watched them. Now, as I was watching clips, one character caught my eye. Zenowing! Now, technically, I was introduced to Zenowing when I watched End of Extinction when it aired, but I just didn't know who he was. 12-year-old me was just like, why is a monster fighting with the Power Rangers? So I was really happy when I got to learn more about him from the internet. So you probably figured out what this video is about. Today, I'm going to be reviewing Robo Knight and Zenowing and how I think they could have been handled better. To help me out, here are my versions of the characters. Now before we begin, just know that huge spoilers await. If you haven't watched Power Rangers Megaforce or Dino Charge, please do so now. If you already watched them or just don't care, let's begin! Okay, since Megaforce came out first, I'll talk about Robo Knight first. Now, Robo Knight's introduction was really good, and the following episodes he was in handled him really well. I love the idea of a robot who doesn't seem interested in working with humans or anyone at all. Megaforce often used the plot of the episode to develop Robo Knight as a character instead of making the entire plot about him like Power Rangers often does with other characters. Take an episode like Dream Snatcher, for example. Dream Snatcher's plot was that there was a monster eating people's dreams, and the message was you can't give up on your dreams no matter what. The episode managed to develop Robo Knight's understanding for human emotions by having him learn about dreams without diverging from the main plot. The ending for that episode was really sweet, with the Rangers using Robo Knight's mission for no harm to come to Earth to make a wish for him, and they're secretly there listening to them and watching the meteor shower with them after initially refusing. Right. Now, I'm not saying that Robo Knight-centric episodes like Human Factor were bad. I actually really enjoyed those. Human Factor introduced us to Metal Alice, and the plot of the episode was her trying to convince Robo Knight that the humans were the reason that the Earth is polluted and stuff. Which, let's be honest, that can apply to today's world. The episode let us know that Robo Knight is content with working with the Rangers and protecting humans, despite everything that they've done. So, did anyone else see a plot hole in Metal Alice's character? Claims he wants to enslave the humans of Earth to keep the planet pure, yet she's working for Rock, someone who wants to destroy Earth, not enslave it. Hashtag Metal Alice should have got a redemption arc. But then there are episodes like Rico the Robot and the Human Condition. Rico was honestly a great character, and I really wish we could have seen more of him instead of just saying we'll never forget you and never even getting a mention of him ever again. Now, Robo Knight wasn't the problem of this episode. The Rangers were. Specifically, Jake and Gia. Jake refuses to believe that Rico could be good and have friends just because he's a robot. And he says that while Robo Knight Knight is right there! Right! Robo Knight should have said something, or someone should have at least pointed out that Robo Knight is right there. Gia wasn't exactly better. Asking Emma what they're doing adopting Rico just because he's a robot that was created by Metal Alice. Gia even uses Robo Knight's previous words that robots and humans cannot work together as a reason why they shouldn't. Oh my god, Gia, you were on the support Robo Knight train up until this point! The human condition was honestly a pretty good episode. I like the subplot of Robo Knight going to the library to learn more about humans since the Rangers keep going, go ask this person, or not even giving him a straight answer. But did they really have to use this subplot as an excuse of why Robo Knight wasn't in battle? Yes, he was away from his phone and couldn't hear it, but he literally abandoned his mission to protect the Earth and its environment just to listen to music with some kid. And they try to make it better, like, sorry that Robo Knight couldn't help you in this pretty important battle. Here's a rap given by him as an apology. With the episode Endgame, it was an awesome cliffhanger of a finale. Messenger drains the Power Rangers and Robo Knight's morphers, leaving them supposedly powerless. Just when it seems like they're about to be beaten, Robo Knight steps forward and uses his own energy to restore his morpher as well as the Rangers. Robo Knight then collapses and tells the Rangers to take down the messenger instead of helping him. After doing so, the Rangers go back only to find Robo Knight missing, and we aren't given an immediate answer of what happened to him, so we are left to speculate if he was captured or if he's dead. Then came Super Megaforce. Now, I'm not saying that Super Megaforce was bad, but I feel like they could have done more besides Troy being depressed about Robo Knight for like 2 episodes, and then having Orion get introduced and everyone just be like, Robo Knight who? I'm not saying Orion was a bad character, I just don't like how he literally replaced Robo Knight on the team. Brock even says himself that Orion's power is exactly like Robo Knight's. But anyone else still a little salty about how Emma chose Orion after so much romantic tension between her and Troy and Megaforce? Then came the Dark Robo Knight arc, and oh my god did that satisfy my craving for more Robo Knight content. Arc was so good with Robo Knight being evil and controlled by Vrock, and it did so much more than remind us, oh yeah, what happened to Robo Knight? The arc ended with Robo Knight fucking dying! For no reason! Like, come on! We just got him fucking back! And in the next episode, the Rangers are all laughing and having fun, and they don't even seem to care! He sacrificed himself to keep Orion alive, but if you were gonna do that, why did you have Robo Knight show up for the final battle with all the Legendary Rangers? Nobody even questions it! Troy just goes, hello old friend, Robo Knight says it's good to be back, and that's it! We never see him again, or even given an explanation of why he was there in the first place! Okay, now that that angry rant is over, let me explain how I think Robo Knight could have been handled better. Honestly, wouldn't change most of the episodes for Megaforce since they handled Robo Knight pretty well. Snatcher, I would probably only add Troy noticing Robo Knight came to the meteor shower and pointing out to the others. Nothing too big, just something small like, look, he actually came. Kill the robot, I would probably just add someone pointing out to Jake that Robo Knight is right there, and maybe Emma inviting Robo Knight to come with them as they teach Rico how to have fun. Robo Knight would agree at first, but would mostly stand on the sidelines observing what's going on until Emma convinces him to join. Condition, I would change that Robo Knight actually hears his phone going off and joins the battle against Malcor. He tells the kid he was hanging out with that he has a duty to fulfill, but agrees to hang out with him sometime in the future. With Super Megaforce, I would change that all the Rangers are upset about Robo Knight instead of just Troy. When Orion gets introduced, they all honestly feel like they were replacing Robo Knight and eventually have to explain to Orion who he is. I would only change one thing about the Dark Robo Knight arc, and that one thing is, Robo Knight survives. Robo Knight would still bid the Rangers goodbye, but instead of him dying in the underwater base, the Rangers would defeat Brock and would look to the shoreline and see Robo Knight carrying the still unconscious Orion, instead of Orion just drifting onto the shore alone. The Rangers would then assist both of them back to base. Following episodes would just have Robo Knight actually agreeing to hang out with the Rangers outside of battle, instead of him just mysteriously disappearing into the city and reappearing just for battles. Okay, now that that's covered, let's move on to Zenowing. Honestly, there's not as much as I like to say about him as I honestly would like to, since he's only in 8 episodes compared to Robo Knight's 20. Like, Dino Supercharged spends 2 whole episodes introducing Zenowing and building him up like some big important character, but then he's just kinda there. Like, he's barely there for the first half of the episode, or not at all, and then he shows up to help the Rangers with a battle they're kinda already winning. Robo Knight had an excuse to do that because the Rangers technically don't know where he is before battle, but the Rangers do know where Zenowing is since he clearly lives in the base and could easily rush to join the battle with the Rangers instead of joining them later. They honestly tried to make Zenowing an important character again in the Rangers Rock. But that episode didn't do much besides say, hey, Zenowing built the dinosaurs in case you forgot. End of Extinction was a relatively good finale, but it was terrible in regards to Zenowing. He's literally just standing there silently and wordlessly fighting, and he only has one line the entire episode, and that's at the end of the episode where he says goodbye to Keeper. I also really wish we got to see Zenowing develop a relationship with Riley similar to the one Robo Knight had with Troy, instead of Wings of Doom just building one up but then leaving it there on the floor. Right. Anyway, while researching more on Zenowing, I discovered his Super Sentai counterpart and who I like to call Zenowing's dad, Torin. And oh my god, was Torin handled so much better than Zenowing. I love that Torin is the Rangers' mentor, but he also is more often than not fighting alongside the Rangers similarly to what Keeper occasionally did. Because of how well Torin was handled, I'll be using some of his ideas to rewrite Zenowing. First, I would have Zenowing be introduced in Dino Charge as a secondary mentor and Keeper's apprentice, like Keeper said in Dino Supercharged. I would still have Zenowing and Doomwing be fused together by Arcanon, but I would have Keeper rescue Zenowing, and with the Dark Energem out of range and Zenowing bonded to the Silver Energem, Zenowing would be able to overpower Doomwing instead of the other way around. Would somehow be able to keep Zenowing from morphing into the Silver Ranger, and the only reason Zenowing won't join battle that often was because he's worried about getting weakened and allowing Doomwing to take control and cause trouble. At first, I would allude to Doomwing's existence by having Zenowing seem to talk to himself. When asked why he does that, why he won't fight that often, and why he won't morph into the Silver Ranger, he simply says someone won't let him. Doomwing would be officially introduced would be that the Rangers go into the base and find Zenowing resting on a table chained up. The Rangers immediately go to free Zenowing from his chains only to have Keeper and Kendall stop them. The Rangers demand to know why only to have Zenowing transform into Doomwing in his sleep. Keeper is then forced to explain how Zenowing bonded to the Silver Energem and how Doomwing was created. Yeah, that's right, the Dark Energem gets introduced as a threat before Super Dino Charge. For the finale of Dino Charge, when the Rangers figure out they have to go rescue Keeper from Sledge, Zenowing initially goes to assist them, but then Doomwing takes control of his body. After Zenowing takes back control, they all feel that it would be better if he stays behind. Unfortunately, this was not the right call because the reason Doomwing suddenly got stronger was because the Dark Energem was close. This only gets revealed as the reason when Zenowing leaves the base to clear his head and Arcanon appears. Arcanon then uses the Dark Energem to force Zenowing to transform into Doomwing. They then disappear and the Rangers are left to wonder what happened. The first half of Dino Supercharged would more or less be the same, with the Rangers and Keeper occasionally mentioning that they're worried about Zenowing, and them telling James about him when they joined the team. With Silver's secret, Doomwing would use the fact that he knows where the Rangers' base is to try to get an edge on them. The Rangers would be reluctant at first to attack Doomwing, but get no choice when he attacks them. After he is weakened, Doomwing would transform into Zenowing. The Rangers would rescue their friend and ask him if he was alright and what happened. The rest of the episode would more or less be the same, with Doomwing and Zenowing getting split off into different bodies. Wings of Doom would just have Zenowing actually willing to have the Rangers help him destroy Doomwing and get the Silver Energem back. When Riley saves Zenowing from getting hit with Doomwing's attack, instead of him saying that it was Riley's own fault he got hurt, Zenowing blames himself and isn't sure if he should even help the Rangers at all. The episode would then end with Zenowing learning that even Rangers make mistakes, and him and the Rangers getting back the Silver Energem. I honestly haven't got that many ideas for the rest of the episodes besides Zenowing having a bigger role instead of him just being there. Well, that's it for this video. If I find out that someone stole my ideas, I will have to kill you. Whoa, guys, easy. It's just an expression. Don't worry, it's fine. You'd be surprised of how often that happens. Welp, I'm off to go binge watch Power Rangers Megaforce and Power Rangers Dino Charge on Netflix. Stay in school, don't do drugs, and eat your teeth. And pink out!